This is Ken. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. All right, we got a little bit of Azur Lane up today. So today is the last day. The Radiant Court event, which is the call to arms event for the Royal Navy, will be ending today, the 15th. All right, so you need to make sure that you've got all of that stuff done. You should have plenty of time. I mean, we had this event for 3 weeks, so it's not like you didn't have time. You should have got inside the shop. You should have at least between 40 and 50,000 of the actual stars of loyalty. I don't, I'm going to buy. I'll be able to buy everything in here. I don't need Jervis because I already have Jervis enough to max out Jervis without using the shop, so I won't be getting that. But you're going to want to purchase as much as you can. So you want to try to have between 40 and 50. That should allow you to get the fire control table, which you should be putting on FDG to account for the spread problem that she has. So that today, so you want to start doing the event. Make sure you've got it all complete. Just do all your times threes, and then just do the EX and whatnot and the SP so that you can get the vote for that. And finish it up. The build ends today as well too. So if you did not get all the ships, I got all the ships a long time ago. You should definitely be focusing in here and do your builds. Hopefully you didn't have to go all the way to the pity. I didn't even get close to the pity. I was like halfway there when Vanguard popped for me. So not that big of a deal. So and then I'll just use I have more than enough to get the actual. It requires the special bullets that you can get in shop, in the prototype shop. It requires these right here, but as you can see, I've got 43,000, so I could easily purchase as many of these as I need. I only need 2 more. I think I've got her almost done, actually. Where's she at? Yeah, I just need 2 more to actually get her completed. But as you can see, Jervis is done, Indomitable's done. I already have finished the actual event portion of I just getting copies of the ships. Through the builds, I was able to do most of them with very little use of bullets was required. So, like I say, all this is ending. Today's the last day. Make sure that you do as many of the events as you can today, because that takes the stars, the loyalty for this as well. This will be open for another 7 days, as will the shop. So you don't need to worry about actually claiming all of the rewards. But you just should. But you definitely want to make sure that you do claim them before the 22nd. The Splendorous debut. This was the actual event for getting the outfit for the Mars. I got the outfit. It's a cute little outfit, so it's nice. You should have finished this up a long time ago. It ends today as well too. The actual event, this ends today too. But as I said, if you've been playing, you shouldn't have any trouble getting all these. Okay, you just had to play the Manju, Hide, and Peep each day for 7 days to get this. So it's not like it was a lot. And then the line made was this right here is another special event that they had. This ends today. So as you can see, we got a lot of stuff ending today. So this was just going to give you some skin boxes. You should be playing on this, Ollie. The rally request. This is going to be going on until the 15th, so this ends today. And then the call to arms of it. As I said, I already got it. Okay. This is completed within the mission tab. It gives you a nice little, this is it right here. The seal of the Radiant Court. So it's a pretty nice, it's got the little 5 little stars right there. And a little medallion up the top there. So it's nice, and that's what you get for the event. I think only 1 ship that I have to complete actually inside the event. Yeah, it's built just one of those, but I've already got it, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so that's pretty much everything that's going on today. So we'll have we should have some light stuff up tomorrow. Tomorrow you want to make sure that you go in the shop tomorrow, or after you've done the build today, and you're not going to do any more building. That means you're not going to get copies. So then you want to start limit breaking all of the ships, completing those events so that you can get the actual portrait frame. It's basically just obtain Vanguard and then limit break all the ships that you see in the build event portion. They're very good ships, as I said in the previous video. You want to max out every single one of these ships. I would even max out the epics, the SR ships in there, simply because of the fact that they can be useful in terms of mid-level game. Okay, you could probably find something a little bit better in terms of in-game, but they are important because you're going to need Royal Navy ships to complete, because a lot of the skills, proc and whatnot, require a certain number of like Royal Navy BBs or just Royal Navy ships in general. So you definitely want to consider that, and this will be very, very, very helpful in 14. Right now, 14 is generally run with you generally run it with any ship that has a buff, extra damage against sirens, such as Yatsen, Ninghai, Pinghai. Those are the ships that you generally run in 13, 14 with. But this is something new that you can actually try in terms of that. So having some, so it's sort of like this event was sort of geared toward the upper levels of the story, where a lot of stuff becomes like, for instance, you need to definitely obtain air superiority. Otherwise, you're going to get annihilated with the aviation damage. Well, there are aviation damage reduction items inside of the new augmentation that they've just came up with, that I spoke a little bit briefly like here a few days ago. So you can now get a reduction in aviation damage. There are ships that have extra evasion. So there's things that they're doing that are making it a little bit more useful inside of 13 and 14, the higher level maps, so that you don't have to resort back to using the Dragon Emperor ships, which have the buff. They do extra damage and they receive less damage from Siren ships. That's all 13 and 14. It completes Siren. Okay, that's all you're going to face inside of those levels. So having something that you need to do. So these ships are very, very key to that, and they'll make getting through it a lot easier, especially if you want to auto it. It's really difficult to auto. You have to have the right setup to do it. I mean, you can do it, but it's just not easy. So these ships will help that. So definitely want to max them all out and start considering utilizing those. I don't really see much in terms of PvP from these ships. I don't think there's anything that's going to break into the meta. Okay, I still think that Jersey, Vittorio, and Aquila are your best backline ships, and on front line you're going to have Shimikaz and Duca and Noshiro. Noshiro you can replace with Anchorage, which is a PR ship, if you want to. But that still seems to be the best in terms of meta. So I don't think there's going to be much changing from the PvP meta from these ships. I could be wrong. There's still a lot of testing and a lot of numbers to crunch. But there's some of the channels like Azur Lane meta and whatnot that you can go to and check back with them. And they'll have updates to the meta. It's because it's at Azur Lane meta. So they'll tell you the best ships to use for the best, best ships to use for 13, best ships to use in PvP, best ships and whatnot. They've also got the new raid. We were expecting this to come up, so you definitely want to be running it. You can run it 2 times a week. It's pretty easy to max out. I completed it on the first try. Just make sure that you're using ships on the front line that can take a lot of damage, or have something that can heal. Okay, because they do a lot of damage to you in this, and you have to get an S so that you can just auto it. You can only run it 2 times a week, so it's not daily, so it's only 2 times a week. I've already run it twice a week, and I just auto it now because, like I say, I beat it. But just make sure you have ships that can take a lot of damage on the front line, or throw something in that can do healing for your Vanguard, and you should be fine. Okay, but you want to do this because it gives you the actual stones that you're going to need to actually do your augmentation. So what I've done is I've been focusing on augmenting up my PvP team. I've got the crossbow on Victoria. This weapon in this ship's first, it deals 5% more damage to heavy armor enemies, but 5. Okay, so that's a pretty nice ship, a pretty nice augmentation for a backline ship. I also put some stuff in. Where's my other ships at here? I want to look at my frontline ships. Shimikaz, I went ahead and a slash attack. Performs a slash attack pattern range. This is perfect for her. I mean, this is like made for her. So I put that on her. Now where's some of the other ships at here? I don't have my PvP ships inside of it's they don't show the PvP ships. So Vanguard, USS Enterprise, Jersey. We've got the sword. This is a straight firepower first strike, okay? Okay, I mean, that's what you're looking for. You just want to go, I assume we'll be getting better ones as the game progresses. I assume we'll be getting, yellow legendary ones. I would assume, but for right now, we don't have those as of yet. So you have to use what they give you. But you just want to try to put at least something on your actual ship so that you can actually begin to utilize. It's min max at this point. Nothing's, like I said in the previous video, nothing is going to make or break the game here. So don't look at that. All right. This is Ningha and Shietsu. These are the ones that are going to be pretty much replaced with some of these new Navy ships to be utilized inside of the upper levels. So let me go ahead and find Duca. I can't remember if I think she's Vichy Dominion. And she's not. Oh, she started the Empire. Got it mixed up. So on her, I put decreases your Vanguard's damage taken from aircraft by 5%. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This, you definitely want to make sure that this is equipped on whichever ship you're going to be using inside of 13 and 4, in the upper levels, anything from 12 and above, because this right here decreases your Vanguard's damage. So it's the whole Vanguard. It's not just the ship that it's on, but your entire Vanguard. And you will be getting a lot of aircraft inside of anything from 12 and above. They start to begin at 13. It just gets ridiculous. Even having air superiority, okay, you still are going to get a lot of aircraft. It's not nearly as much if you take a fleet that has, and what I mean by that is when you make in your fleet in 13, you'll see the option. You need to have a certain amount of anti-air. Okay, if you have that amount of anti-air in your fleet, then you get what's called air superiority, and that means that you will get less attack from aircraft, but you're still going to get a lot. I mean, there are ways to mitigate this. I mean, you can take San Diego in there after her retrofit. It's very helpful. And then put one of these on your ship. So even if a ship does manage to get it in a hit, you're going to be taking less damage overall. So that's the things that you're looking for. So as you can see, a lot of little, none of this stuff is like game breaking, but it's very, 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 very good in terms of what you're looking for. And this is every battle when this ship launches her first airstrike increases your main fleet's aviation by 20 for 10 seconds. Okay, the skill cannot stack with herself. All right, this is not really helpful too much in terms of what it's used on, because she's the only actual aviation inside of my PvP fleet, because I have Vittorio as the flag and Jersey as the other one. Those are battleships. They don't have aviation damage, but it increases her aviation, plus it gives her buff to aviation. So, but this is going to, as I said, you can right now I'm just using what they're giving you. All right, this is not what I would look for. This is something that you want to put on a fleet that's running 3 carriers. Okay, if you got a fleet that's running 3 carriers, you definitely want to utilize the Scepter. Okay, I mean, 20 plus aviation for it, but it's, and it's for that, for the fleet that it's your main fleet. So that's definitely something that you want to look for in terms of that. I just put it on her because it gives me an aviation buff and it gives me an evasion buff. And this is my PvP team. So I wanted to make sure that I at least had everything in line, for her in terms of that. So that's where we're at in that term. So that's the stuff that you want to look for. So you definitely want to start doing, make sure you do the augmentation. That'll give you all the stones you need to craft these things. And as the game goes, they're probably going to start offering um, better items that, better ones. I assume we'll get the legendary, the gold ones. I assume they'll even come out probably with a UR one before long. But, if you want to make them, you're going to need this stuff inside of here. Okay, so make sure that you do the max one. Do it do it twice a week. Okay, get it out of the way so that you're not losing the actual everything. You should be doing your dailies every day. I do my dailies every day. So that's where you should be focusing on that. And like I said, the shop is going to be open for another 7 days. So there's really not a whole lot of rush. Tomorrow or after you do your builds today, just go ahead here and start purchasing every stuff. You want to make sure that you get the fire control table. Okay, that's very important. And you're going to put that on FTG. You want to get all of the parts. That's the easiest place to get the parts. And you want to make sure that if you're farming, that you're farming places to get these as well. Okay, so as you can see, what you're going to roughly need, and then you want to get you always want to get the actual blueprints. Okay, and then with the rest of these, you can get you want to get the cognitive chips. I really don't need any of these. I've got 119,552. I really don't need another 100 cognitive chips, but I go ahead and purchase them anyway. So, you may as well get them since they're in here. You never want to run out of them. And then with the remaining ones, I just purchase the blueprints. So I was able to get all of them, and I still got 2,800 left over. So I'll probably buy some oil or zips. I might probably even use it for oil. So I'll hold off onto that right now because I could use oil. I'm running a little bit low, and I'd saved up. I had like 5 setups in here with 25 and 3,000 oil a piece. I've already used all of them. So running the event to get the things. So that's what you want in terms of that. So yeah, you should be good with 50,000. If you have to get Aquila, I'm sorry, not Aquila. If you have to get Jervis, you might want to throw in a little bit more. But yeah, you should be good. That should be good. Everything, there's certain stuff to get, and there's other stuff which you can get if you run it out. Some people, farmed it, probably got 100,000 just to purchase everything in the shop. But not in this case, but it was a good story. It wasn't as good as the previous story, but like I said, I don't think they'll ever be able to beat the previous event, which was the Iron Blood event with the Call to Arms. That was just one of the best stories ever. Had everything inside of it. But this ties into that, so that's why it's really good as well too. And finally got some love for the Royal Navy, which had really not been getting much of anything. They had been ignored for a really long time. So I'm glad that they finally got a UR ship in terms of Vanguard, and also the Unicorn. It was nice that Unicorn had been lagging there for a while, but I'm glad that they got the retrofit for her. So she's a pretty good setup. So she's definitely comparable. Not quite, it seems to be about 50-50. Some say Perseus, some say Unicorn. Perseus starts out, but as it proceeds, Unicorn ends up doing more damage. And the healing level is about the same now. It wasn't before. Perseus was better. So, but now that the healing is roughly the same. So, in actually, Unicorn's a little bit better, especially if your fleet's going to go. After about the 18 to 20-second mark, I believe, um, she starts to do nearly double the damage that Perseus puts out. But Perseus was a healer. That was her main function. Unicorn uh, always did. She was one of the best ships, especially early in the ship, because you can get her fairly early. But because every time she would launch an airstrike, you'd get your vanguard would get healed. So she was one of the few ships that was doing damage because you had Akashi, but Akashi didn't do any damage. Akashi was there just for healing. I don't think anybody uses her anymore. So, but we've got the ships now like San Francisco and Yui, who do a good hunk of damage and at the same time do targeted fixed healing, which means they heal the ships that need it. That was what previous about the ships that were it would like it would heal all the ships on the Vanguard. Well, if your Vanguard was full, that really didn't help much. What happens if it was a backline ship? Uh, Yui and San Francisco targeted healing. They heal the ships with the lowest hit points, which helps out immensely in terms of keeping your ships alive. But San Fran, you just came out recently, within the last year. Before that, we really didn't have nothing in terms of targeted healing. I mean, she heals the Vanguard, all the Vanguard, and your Vanguard 9 times out of 10 is already have taken damage by the time she launched her first airstrike. So it was a good heal, and I used her quite frequently early in the game, until it got to the point where I really wasn't needing that much in terms of healing because I was doing enough damage that it wasn't a problem. But yeah, so she's been buffed right now, as well as the increase in the skill level and stuff. So there's no special item for the retrofit. There isn't anything that you need to do. Okay, uh, you know, so it should be fairly easy to do it. It just takes blueprints and other stuff, uh, you know, to do it. So there's nothing in here that should be a requirement. You can use a Bullen for this. You don't have to use a copy of her. Any Bullen will work. So that, as you can see, there's nothing special like in some of the others. In some of the others, you had to actually had a special item. This did not require that. So it was nice. I really would have liked for them to put that retrofit on Elizabeth. Uh, she is the flagship for the Royal Navy. She should not be an Epic. She should at least be an SSR ship, but they decided to put it on Unicorn. So hey, she's a Royal Navy ship, so I'm not going to complain about it. But we'll see. Maybe she'll get something in the future. But for right now, yeah, it was a really good event. Excellent ships. Get them all, max them all out, level them up, get those skills set up on them, and start planning utilizing them in your fleets, because you will be able to use them in game. They are in-game ships. They have the capability to assist greatly in that. As things start to get tougher, once you get to it really starts. You'll start to notice at 11. You'll really start to notice it at 12. That you're needing max fleet, and you're needing skills maxed out, and you're needing a fleet that has some synergy, because you're just taking a lot of damage, and you'll notice that autoing becomes exceedingly difficult. You'll really notice it in 13, especially if you don't get air superiority. You'll definitely notice it there. You won't be able to auto unless you've got a fleet that's designed for it. You just take too much damage, and you need to manual it so that you can stay alive a little bit longer. But it's doable. But yeah, it just takes a little bit harder. These ships will make it a little bit easier as well. Yeah, but it's a really, really good event in terms of the ships. So it's nice to get that many ships, and it's nice that the devs were actually looking ahead and saying, okay, what can we do here to make 13 and above a little bit easier if you have the right ships. So I think these ships will be greatly pleased with that, as well as the augmentation stones, which just came out. Another way to get a little min-maxing on your account. Right now, I would focus on PvP, putting them in your PvP team, simply because that's the best place that you can put them at this point. So, you definitely want to, just stick them on, line them up, stick them up. It'll help out. Okay, and you shouldn't have any trouble if you have the right, no matter maxing out the skills, maxing out all the equipment. You should be able to beat ones that are higher than you without much of a trouble. Without much trouble. Okay. Um, as you can see, it's the torpedo damage that we're doing. It's just annihilating the front line, and that's why it does so good, because the front line gets taken out so fast. Okay, see, we're already starting to attack the back line. So even somebody with a higher level than me, I'm not even remotely close to being, not even close. So this is accurate. So anybody who's saying that this is not an accurate meta is just not looking at what's going on. It's very accurate. Uh, the only time I ever has trouble with 14s, 15s, and even 16s is when I'm going up against somebody who has the same ships that I do. Okay, so if you do that, then you can get it. Okay, um, but in terms of everything else, there's really not out there in terms of that. This is pretty much works in terms of what you need. So you want to make sure that Shimikaze, that you've got torpedoes on there. You want to make sure that you got torpedoes on Duca, and Nushiro, just her skill buffs the torpedo. See how fast I took down the front line. Okay, so this is definitely something that you want to look at, especially if you want to actually focus higher into the upper levels. So yeah, so just make sure that you put torpedoes, magic torps on Shimikaze, Duca, and Nushiro. Like I say, Nushiro can be everybody's saying put anchorage in place of Nushiro. My anchorage is very close to being maxed. I've still got a little bit. I'm just taking her up slow because I've been using her through commissions and whatnot. But they're saying that you could put her in place of Nishiro, but Nishiro's skill that buffs your torpedo damage. So I'm really not sure how much anchorage is a tank. There's no doubt about that. Your anchorage is going to survive. She's a priority ship, so it's not surprising. Where's she hiding at? In here somewhere. I got so many ships. It's really there. She is right there. She's a priority ship. So that in terms of that, it makes her. She's got pretty good torpedo damage. Increased aviation when the ship fires a special barrage, of course, and then hide and seek. When the ship fires her torpedoes, deploys a smoke screen and a barrier. The smoke screen lasts fight and increases evasion rate by 40 for all of your ships in it. Does not stack with other smoke screen. The barrier lasts 5 seconds, can absorb damage to up to 6% of this ship's max hit points. If this barrier is destroyed before it fires, this ship gains 100 evasion rate for 2 seconds. So you're going to have absolutely positively no problem whatsoever surviving with her. So she's more of a little bit of tank. With the evasion that she's got, and the evasion that she gives, as well as the smoke screen, that's why I think that they're saying that she's a little bit better than Noshiro. But if you don't have her, and a lot of people aren't because she is a priority ship, you're going to have to build her. Okay, then you're going to have to get all the prints to actually max her out, because you have to use the blueprints to build her. Everybody knows how the priority ship is set up, so it takes a really long time to do that. Okay, I've done it. Uh, you know, I'm happy with Noshiro at this point, but I'm going to put anchorage in there and see what I'm looking for right now is to find the team that beats me in PvP, and then I'll substitute Noshiro for PvP and see if I can beat that team again. But it's really hard to get the same teams, so it's not a whole lot of ways in terms of that. The easiest thing to do, and what I normally do, is I'll just run a level, write down the stats, and I run that level 10 times. I'll write down the stats for that ship in those 10 runs, and then do a mean average on those stats. And then I'll do the same thing with the other ships. And you can generally get what's best, but again, that's that's the easiest way to do it. You have to do that inside of the story stages, because in PvP you can't get the same person 10 times to actually do any type of accurate mean averaging. So those ships work, but we'll have to see if Anchorage is better in terms of Nushiro. Okay, but we'll know. When I do it, I'll let you know what I find out. But everybody's saying that they did it already and they said it worked, so I'll take their word for it at this point. But so once I get her maxed out, which will be probably within the next few weeks, we'll stick her in and see how it goes. All right, so again, event ends today, so make sure you get all those loyalty stars that you need for the shop. Another week is open for the shop, and another week for the actual missions, so you can get the portrait frame. But the sorties and the build will close today. All right, so this is Kenrir coming at you from the corner, signing out.